It is 5 years of President Muhammadu Buhari in office and 21 years of unfettered democracy. By taking a cue from Nigeria's national anthem, the first stanza talks about the nation coming together, while the closing words talk about peace and unity. How well have we lived up to this creed? Joining us now on the News at 10 to address the question and more on Nigeria's nationhood is Regional Director, West Africa Lead of Ford Foundation, Mr. Innocent Chukwuma. Thank you for joining us on the News at 10.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I would have said a happy Democracy Day, but it's no longer today, so we move on. Our major concern for today actually is Nigeria's creed of peace and unity. How far have we fared?
I would say it's a work in progress. Looking at how the government has fared over the past 5 years, it has recorded a number of successes and progress in a number of areas, has several missed opportunities, and above all, has 3 years to really reset on a number of areas it should have done better. If we focus for a second on the issue areas where the government has performed well. One is the introduction of the single treasury account. A lot of people today may take it for granted that may not know that there was a time when agencies of government had hundreds of accounts that leaders in the sectors kept in various accounts, put money in them without accounting for them. But today you have all inflows in terms of revenues to the government going to this TSA. And in my view, that has actually led to the decongestion of Abuja of political jobbers, which is to the credit of the government. The government has also recovered looted funds and assets and created a register for actually tracking all these recovered funds and created a framework within the budget for absorbing them for funding of social investment, social protection program. Again, in the past, these funds will be recovered and then in turn be restolen. We've also made significant progress in terms of investing in agriculture. If you look at what the CBN has done in the area of using the Anchor Borrowers program on rice plantation, we have over 10 mills, rice mills in the country today. And finally on that is also the determination of government to really pursue a number of national infrastructural projects, which includes roads, which includes bridges, and what have you. However, there are several missed opportunities that the government should have taken advantage of to cement the unity of the country, inspire all Nigerians that this is a country to call their own. And the first one is the most important soundbite in the 2015 inaugural speech of the president. I belong to no one. I belong to everyone. You couldn't get it better than that in terms of a clarion call to mobilize the diverse talents we have in this country and make them available for the service of the country. That did not happen. And then the other one is actually, when we look at what is the role or basic function of the president, we don't expect the president to be the one doing everything, but it's actually inspiring every Nigerian to imagine greatness and go out there and perform greatness in the best of times, and also to motivate them to keep the faith in the worst of times.
And you think he hasn't done that?
The communication, because when we talk about integrated marketing communications, all channels of communication, all agents and individuals involved in communication will be sending the same message so that people out there will get that cue. But here we have different people speaking from different angles and all of that, to the extent that today Nigeria is perceived as perhaps more divided than we've ever had it in the history of this country. And then you look at the cardinal areas that everybody talks about.
Insecurity, reviving the economy,
where today
as well as
we
corruption.
have bandits taking over territories in various parts of the country, and the security forces are actually on the receiving end. You also talk about, yes, government has recorded some progress in fighting corruption, but actually the presidency of Buhari, why his presidency was attractive, is that by sheer force of personal example and rallying people around him, he will symbolize that new movement towards anti-corruption. He missed it in that first few years, to the extent that People around him did not declare their assets. In his own, it was a statement that we had. So when you put all of these together, you find out that there are still a lot to be done. But the good thing is that we have 3 more years to actually get it right.
Yeah, and I think one of the greatest challenges to this administration right now is the coronavirus pandemic. And, the question has been asked, what should be the next set of priorities going forward, even as we fight the pandemic? Because all attention seems to be focused on this now. And we're just gradually beginning to realize that, the economy needs to reawaken. We need to set things rolling before things become worse.
Yeah, so when coronavirus broke out, people saw it essentially as a health crisis. But it quickly dovetailed into a social crisis, an economic crisis, and if care is not taken, may lead to a political crisis. So we require the government, yes, they have done well in a number of areas, but this should be the #1 priority of government now, to which every person in government should rally around. And I'm happy in that regard about the appointment of the new Chief of Staff, Professor Ibrahim Gambari. This is a world statesman that we want the government to make use of this talent in reaching out, because Nigeria has been largely absent in conversations at Africa level, global level, on how to really recover the economy and build a resilience that people can enable people and the sectors across the country to quickly recover from it. But we are not seeing it. I am hoping that with people like Professor Gambari coming in, and also other elements that have not performed fully to their feet to really step up.
Indeed, and I've heard everything you said tonight, and I hope everyone is listening, and I hope that the government also is listening. Thank you again, Mr. Innocent Chukwuma, for joining us here on the News at 10.
Thank you so much.